And hello, and welcome to AleksConnects Creative Sandbox. My name is Alex, and let's continue our Fanart project, Angry Birds vs Transformers. So yeah, let's just strictly continue it. Sorry for that. So yeah, we will continue to work on this illustration. Again, kind of repeating myself at the beginning of the every session by telling that we are working still with sculpture, with sculpting these Transformer statues, just for the sake of understanding their form, and then to make it much more easier to place them in the different positions in this illustration, because again we are going to put them almost everywhere, right here, 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 and garbage piles, so they are definitely going to be used throughout the whole illustration. And it's pretty unfamiliar form, because again this is an alien form, which doesn't exist, and this thing kind of makes it harder to create right away from your brain. Yeah, so that's why we kind of got through 3D. We put this thing in 3D, and today we are going to create these plates. I hope so. And like overall, I actually want to finish finally sculpting today, and starting from tomorrow I hope we are dive into lighting, finally creating lighting for this scene, trying to figure out where to place them and whatever. So it's definitely going to be that. So yeah, let's just go into ZBrush. Okay. So again, this sculpture is almost done, I think, at least. Still a couple of things to do. We need to figure out the eyes, how to work with eyes, because for now this Transformers is basically doesn't have any eyes existence, so it kind of makes him not realistic or not alive, I'd say. Things are going to completely change after we will add eyes, but since I didn't thought about the designing eyes before for this Transformer, it's definitely could become pretty interesting problem. So I think I definitely need to go through references that we have, that we gathered so far, and definitely like ask questions. What are Transformers' eyes look like? And definitely solve this problem. Until then, let's just add and finish the things that we need to finish. So basically throughout the previous session we added this, I don't know, how do you probably call it, this strange part of the body, by making it a little bit bigger in here, by putting it in here, making it a little bit hard surface look, just for the sake of creating this imposing feeling, like this Transformer is like big and intimidating, whatever. So this was the purpose, I guess. And yeah, let's just, again, in every freaking session we need to do this. I don't know why it's happening. We need to re-snap our references, although we're probably not going to use them that much. The only references that we were going to use are to create these things, these plates. I still need to think about this one. I know that I added it here, but I don't know if it's actually needs to be here. I will definitely think about that. And of course, yeah, we need to like put plates in here just for the sake of understanding how these plates are going to work from different angles and look from different angles. How many plates are there, because it's still unclear to me. So for instance, 2 plates from the back, like one is definitely from the back, one is kind of from the side, and I didn't draw plates from the side, and we have one in front of us. But I think from the side, it's definitely going to be an additional plate, and I kind of want to just, I don't know, see how they're going to look. By the way, I think that I actually drawn plates from the side. It was so long ago that I kind of forget about it. Yeah. Let's just make a quick check. I actually want to see if I really drew. Let's just open our DA Mashup project too. Let's just go to liquid Krita. I actually want to see if I actually created it, because if I did, I would rather have it, because come on, than not. So let's just wait a bit while Krita is opening. Okay, let's just see. Definitely think that I created something from the side view for the side view. At least I think so. Let's just figure this out. So I guess I'm not. Yeah, I actually didn't create anything. Maybe I tried, but decided not to go with it, because like in my memory I have this notion that I actually did this, but apparently not, because I don't see anything in here. Yeah, didn't do that. Also, while we're here, also I have these, of course. These are the variables of the Transformers design from every statue we're going to have. Again, we need only one of these like sculpted in order to understand the basic forms, but like they definitely going to be changed when I'm going to draw them. So they are going to be slightly different in design, not only in head but in the body too, which kinda will take some time, I guess. Yeah. I didn't understood at the beginning that this project would be that long, because like it's pretty complex. There's a bunch of things in this inside this project that needs to be like planned and well done. I thought this project going to be much more easier at the beginning, but it turns out pretty hard. But still, again, challenging yourself, it's always a good thing. And again, yes, I will spend a lot of time on this project. I already spent a lot of time on this project, but still I learned so much from it, and like can't even measure. Either way, yeah, let's just stop talking and stop working. Okay, so let's decide where we are going to start this session from, like what's the thing is going to be. I worked a bit on this part. I actually kind of like want to add something similar to this thing. So we're still working with the symmetry mode. Maybe, I don't know, like separate this part a bit, make it a little bit more hard surface looking. These small elements will definitely add more character. We actually have a little bit of separation in here and here. Again, trying to figure out where these planes are separated, because this is the thing that will help us to work with lighting. We need to understand where planes change direction. It's like a crucial thing. By suggesting these things definitely will help us deal with this problem. Oh no, lost in rotation. Not everything looks good though. Again, just a suggestion. Just small suggestions. Yeah, the main thing for me it's not to cut up in details, and unfortunately, since this transformer is almost done, I already have all information that I need. Not like all information that I need, but almost every information that I need. It kind of makes it like in a stage of finishing, and brain wants to skip a particular things and go into detailing, but I will try to gather myself and not go into details that much. Whoa, that was a crazy rotation. Okay, let's just, by the way, let's do everything right at the beginning of the session. Okay, right now we need to smooth the peaks. Need to get rid of this peak. Exactly that. I know, something about this thing I don't like. I think it needs to be either a little bit smaller. I'll just try to make it a little bit smaller because I don't like this transition, it's strange. Or just keep it where it is. Okay, I will address it later. Because again, it was planned as something let's just strict. And I made it a little bit differently, so. Yeah, they are kind of out of design. They don't look right. Yeah, let's just get rid of this thing. Like completely, like creating a margin here. apply Dynamesh, and smooth out things. Yeah, this one works better because it kind of works with this one, like it's repetitive shape. But before that, it was like, I don't know. There's nothing that looked, nothing in our design that looks like it. So I guess when I created it, I didn't think about this. Okay. Minion. Let's go regular smooth. Apply the mesh and smooth out these things in here. Again, I'm cut up in details, which is not a very good thing, but whatever. Okay, this transition is pretty wild. It's like you don't know where to go. Okay, yeah, this looks better. This design looks a little bit better because again, we now have a repetitive shape and something familiar. Before that, it was out of place. So yeah, let's just continue. So today we need to establish the eyes and figure out how to actually design eyes for the transformer. And also, I hope I will actually create these plates, which I think not going to be that hard, but again, since I don't have that much experience with working with IMM primitives, it's going to be pretty challenging, I guess. But either way, I will solve this problem. That's kind of it. I hope I will manage to do everything in here today. If not, next session is definitely going to be the last one in sculpting, and then we are just going to go into the drawing and actually painting. Again, working with light in 2D. Yeah, I kind of gone through the whole model just to see what I've missed. And I'm not going to detail it further because we don't need that. The information that I have here is more than enough for me to draw it in 2D. Yeah. So, next thing that so right now I just need to make a decision. I don't know where to start. So either I start with I, which kind of goes with the reference search. We need to go with and see particular references, find a particular look for the eye that looks best, which will take some time. Or I need to start with these plates first, like finish them and keep an eye for later. It's kind of a question. I think since I definitely need to go in detail face a little bit more, I think it's going to be a good thing if we're going to work on the face right away after we created eyes. So we are going to create eyes and then we're going to detail face. So in order to keep this continuity, let's start then with the plates. yeah, let's start with the plates. So okay, first I'm going to start with the front or with the back. No, actually let's start with the back, because on the back we don't need to do almost anything, we just need to create these things and that's it. The only thing that I actually want to do in here is to accentuate this angle, because it's kind of an important thing to have here, and unfortunately I don't have this angle here at all. Kinda need it. Suggesting hard surface would be a good thing. So put thing in here, then use smooth peaks, no valleys, and let's just put a little bit clay in here, and of course in here too. And smooth peaks or valleys right here too. Because this plate is going to be attached to this part. It's like going to go from this one, and it definitely needs to be hard surface because we're going to create this plate hard surface. Okay, let's keep it like this. It's far from looking good, but needs to look straighter. Beep 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 beep. By the way, also right now, like while I'm doing this thing, I kind of want to bring some things to talk about. Like right now I'm like touring up, or no, how do you properly say it in English? Come on, man, focus. I kind of torn between what to decide next to like draw. I always have things to draw. I have a lot of projects in like freeze state that they are. I throughout the years I get so attached to them, so like I'm pretty hesitant to continue them because they are super important to me. And of course I'm not going to work on these type of projects yet, because I need to gain a little bit more experience before I'm going to like work on these projects, especially during live streams. So for now, like besides these projects, I wanna like decide what to work with on a stream, because still the things that I'm going to work with on a stream, I need like the main purpose of them needs to be just for the gaining experience that I lack, and for the most part I want to focus on something mainstream. Although almost all of my projects, like the ones that I care about the most, they are not mainstream at all. They are just projects. But on streams, I kind of want to focus on something like a little bit closer to mainstream. Although I don't want to draw constantly fan art only, because I don't know. This is not something that I want to do like overall. But drawing like occasionally fan art would be a pretty good idea. And okay. So I kind of need to decide what to do next. I definitely not going to draw like big illustration like this one, because I kind of need to go from quality to quantity a little bit, because I don't have that much work to show, and I need to create more work in terms of like quantity. Of course, maintaining the quality, but the only way to do this is just to basically choose work that I could do a little bit faster. And for me, like, character design is something that, of course, I could do pretty fast. No, or at least not pretty fast, but faster than, of course, complete illustration. Yeah. Although I still tend to, even when working with character design, overcomplicate things. This is like, and make it still not easy thing to do. But by putting a relatively complex background for the character design to suggest place where the character is, just basically just suggesting the character's habitat. So yeah, it's pretty hard to talk when you're doing something. As I said before, it's one of the things that I definitely need to learn how to do. So okay, almost hard surface, far from hard surface, but kind of closer than it was before. So I guess it will do for creating a plate. Let's just create a plate, I guess. Yeah, I'll just right away create a plate. And or not. Let's just make this one a little bit more hard surface. So yeah, and before deciding what to do next, like, I already have in plan a couple of character designs that I wanted to do. These character designs, not something close to the okay, I completely forgot the word. Mainstream. Yeah, these character designs that I kind of planned, they are not necessarily work for mainstreams, but they mainstream, but they could, because they are kind of, I don't know, fit almost everywhere. They could fit in games, they could fit in graphic novels, or so either creating these type of things, so, or actually take on some type of a specific fun art. And when I'm like thinking about fun arts, of course I need to, if I'm going to work with some type of fun art for the sake of just like getting experience in drawing and creating quick things, not spend too much time to design things of my own, because as you see, it's pretty long time to do, or it takes a long time to do these things when you design something on your own. Even if you're basing it on something that already exists, still it takes super long time. So yeah, if I will like consider these type of choices, I would choose WWE. So I kind of for probably last 10 plus years, maybe even more. I've been a fan of WWE, and I already thought about creating a fan art for WWE, or not for, but like just WWE fan art, for a long period of time. But the problem with these type of fan arts, they are going to be limited in situations, because like it's pretty hard to create a fan art of a particular wrestler and actually create a situation for it, because almost every situation is inside the ring, or just like in some type of a photo shoot way, which kind of makes these fan arts pretty repetitive. But still, it's something that I definitely wanted to explore, because again, I need a venue for like, I don't think it's a proper way to use this word, but still, I need to like create for myself something that's not going to be that hard to create, or at least to design from the ground up, because most of the wrestlers they already have particular looks, particular styles, and like showcase these styles my own way would be a pretty interesting thing to do. Because again, the cool thing about WWE, that it's constant, it never stops. So it's not something like you know, Game of Thrones, that they're just like season ended and people not ready into the Game of Thrones anymore until new seasons will begin. With except fans, of course, like complete fans, but still, for WWE, it's like there's no seasons in WWE. Like it's constant, and that kind of makes it pretty cool, because no matter when you're going to create a particular fan art for WWE, it's going to be relevant for the WWE fans, which is kind of a cool thing, I think. And since I'm like a WWE fan, so I'm watching all shows, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, all pay-per-views and stuff. So occasionally going into social media to see what they're posting there. I'm not like a crazy fan, but still, I think I could provide something interesting by creating a WWE fan art. I don't know. This is something that I'm actually like still thinking about. I just like wanted to put it out there as a, I don't know, as a real thought. Because when you are thinking about these things in your brain, and just as a inner dialogue, they pretty quickly could become unrealizable, or I don't know. You could pretty quickly discard them. When you're putting these thoughts out there in a stream, they kind of become more real, I'd say. I could mix things up though. I could like occasionally work on a particular WWE, for instance, fan art, and mix it up with my own things, like my own character designs. That would be a pretty cool thing to do. But again, it's always the time factor that decides everything. How many time I'm going to have to work on all these things, and what's going to be closer to mainstream. I wouldn't say that WWE is like complete mainstream, but it's pretty popular, I'd say. And again, the only reason why artists need to think about aiming his or her work towards mainstream, at least at the beginning of their journey, because unfortunately this is like probably like the only way to get noticed as an artist, because like most of the artists are actually choosing fan art as their career, because that way you always going to be noticed by someone. But when you're creating something like of your own, a particular project, it's highly unlikely that you're going to be noticed, even if this is super awesome work, because it's just not something that most of the people digging, which is kind of a problem. And for the artist, it's usually like the hard choice. What I need to do? Should I create something for others just for the sake of getting exposed, for the exposure, or create something for myself and not getting exposed to anyone? This is like a dilemma that probably every artist has, I don't know, which for a long period of time kind of bothered me. Right now I don't bother about this thing at all. I definitely know that I'm going to create something on my own, mostly, but occasionally to get a little bit more exposure than from your own work, it would be a good idea to put here and there a couple of fan arts. Especially when you're actually putting not forced fan arts of things that you're not that fan of, but actually things that you're actually fan of. So for instance, Angry Birds vs. Transformers, the only reason why I chose it because I'm kind of a fan of Transformers, or at least I like all Transformers movies, and I like Transformers, the idea overall. I'm not like crazy fan, but still I'm a fan. So yeah, Angry Birds, I just liked the Angry Birds movie. I'm not like fan of Angry Birds, like I'm not playing them as a games. I'm aware of them, as probably everyone is, but still. So and then there lies the dilemma, like for the most of the artists, where to go, like go into complete mainstream and became a fan art guy or girl, or actually create something on your own. And again, if you like fan art, and it's nothing bad about working with fan art constantly, but again, for me personally, I would prefer to work with something that I have passion about. And if you are actually passionate about something regarding fan art, then it's a good idea to choose fan art, of course. It will help you grow a little bit faster in terms of your exposure. Of course, you need to be good in your skills. It's not that easy, but still. Okay. Definitely want to do something with this thing. So yeah, if I'm going to create some type of fan art, I'm definitely not going to create random fan art. I'm going to create fan art only for things that I'm actually constantly like watching or constantly dealing with. I don't know. So for instance, since I'm watching WWE like every show, it kind of makes these things a little bit easier because I'm constantly aware of things that are happening there. And that way I could create pretty interesting fan art, I think, because I know what's happening there and I could implement these things into fan art. I think every artist in their heart wants to create something that never been created before, but we kind of pretty quickly became I don't know, socially dependent on particular topics, because we know that if you want to actually earn a living as artists, you need to create something that's widely spread. And socially known. That's why these choices are so hard. But again, I'm not in any position to like give some type of advices. I'm just like analyzing it by myself, like just trying to think how I'm looking at this. Okay, let's stop, because I put a lot of time of doing this thing and I actually did almost nothing. Because like, yeah, I made it a little bit better, but still it's not established that well. Maybe the reason is of this thing. It needs to be lifted up to higher, because it's like, whoa, careful. We don't need a hand. Oh no, I'm lost in rotation. Again. Bring back. Again, as long as you're creating fan art and you like what you're doing, or even more, you love what you're doing, it doesn't matter. Like, but if you want something more, you shouldn't settle for fan art just because it will bring you exposure. But there's always a balance there, I think. Because again, creating fan art is a good way to get exposed to a wide range of viewers. And then creating something on your own. So like most of the artists, they're actually like not most, but some artists just advising do something like this. You just basically finding something, you need to find something that you like in terms of like fun, for fan art, in terms of a fan art, and create something fan art like until you get a specific audience. Of course, you need to understand what you're creating and what type of audience you will attract to this. Keep in mind what you want to create outside of the fan art. That way you could attract attention to your work by creating a fan art, and then you're creating something on your own and you already have some type of an audience. And if audience that digs your fan art will dig your personal work, it's always awesome. But again, it's not that easy, I guess. Or maybe it is. Who knows? So the only reason why I'm spending time on this thing is because it wasn't established good enough at the beginning stages. Like, it didn't work properly on the base form. As probably it's... I could say the same for the whole sculpt, because, again, I rushed. Okay, we are... smoothing out valleys. Because again, people love familiarity, like, or something familiar. I think, yeah. That's why fan art is something that usually sticks out. And when you go into the particular, like, gallery, for instance, like ArtStation, almost the only thing that you see is mostly fan art or client work. Unfortunately, that there's not that much personal work there. I wish it were. Again, fan art is recognizable. Almost every people, or almost everyone, or at least not everyone, but something that so popular as Game of Thrones. I don't think that there's people that don't know about the existence of Game of Thrones, because it was so widely spread. So, like, almost everyone knows about it, even if they're not fan or not watching it. Of course, not creating fan art for Game of Thrones would be a... And again, I'm not talking about popularity, I'm talking about, like, basic exposure, because every artist needs a little bit, like, push into the industry, because you can't just start from nowhere. And usually these type of pushes were created by fan art. See David Raposa and lots of other artists. They got noticed by the viewers because they worked with fan art, and they just gone with creating something on their own. So maybe it's not a bad idea to take this type of, like, again, you're choosing something that you're a fan of. You're creating a particular fan art. You're getting exposure that you need. But keep in mind that you need to definitely understand what you want to create overall, because then if you're not, you will just basically will be lost in fan art. And the only thing that you'll be known for is just for the creating fan art. And again, if it's a good for you, like if you're, like, completely, like, if you're not against it, it's fine. It's fine. But if you actually want something more, you'd better, I guess, spend time to understand what you want to create. And this is something like that almost every artist has in a particular stage. For instance, when I started, I didn't necessarily, like, I knew what type of work I want to create. Right from the beginning, I knew that I want to create something with a deep storytelling. And then I got lost because I saw that the only way to create something with deep storytelling is to become a super experienced artist, and I needed something faster. I didn't want to wait till it happens. So yeah, gone through a lot of struggles, artistic struggles, to get what I am today, but still, now at least I know like better than before what I want from my work. And that's why these decisions, for instance, what type of, like what to draw first on the streams, fan art or something personal, now I understand the motivation behind everything. So I definitely want to draw and create my personal work, of course, as the final thing, but I still understand that if I'm going to create something of my own, like, I don't think if actually this thing that I want to create will attract specific people, or at least anyone, I don't know. And that's why choosing some type of a balance between something mainstream and something that probably not work from the mainstream necessarily would be a good idea. So you're just basically creating something that you actually like. By the way, the thing that I want to create, they could be implemented in mainstream, but again, until I'll create them, I'm not going to know that, because mainstream is a pretty interesting thing. It's constantly changing. One day, one thing is, I don't want to use the word popular, because again, there's not a popularity contest, and I hate of thinking about art as a popularity contest, but unfortunately society kinda, or at least artistic society, kinda creates this feel that you constantly fighting for popularity. Yeah, I got too far in details. I need to stop. Please stop. Yeah, coming to. But either way, we still need to readdress these things, because again, when I'm going to add these plates are going to be added in here, and for these plates to look good, we need to straighten these things. So I guess I will continue to straighten them, because it's super important. Without them, plates are going to look bad. Because these things were designed straight. They don't need to be curved. So yeah, and while I'm going to correct them, I will continue to explore this theme. Again, it's pretty, like, there's actually people that are fighting on this topic and arguing and whatever. I just want to bring this topic just for discussion. I don't want for people to fight like because of this, but still, you need to be open-minded in these things. You have your own opinion about these things. You're not forcing your opinion on someone or to someone. I don't know how to properly say it. But you could just share your opinion, and maybe your opinion will help someone to, I don't know, change their opinion, because you could provide pretty valid point, and why not? And when you're getting too closed-minded, or I don't know, like, it's not a very good thing. You kind of limit it to what you decided, and okay, and like nothing will change your mind. This is probably not the best position to have. We need to be open to growth, and the only way is to grow is to accept change. And in order to accept change, you need to be open for the possibility of change. And yeah, as simple as that. There's nothing much to it. Before, the reason why I'm talking about this, because before I actually was super close-minded. Like, I thought that the thing that I know is the truth, and like everyone that feels different, wrong, and I'm always right. And yeah, and throughout the years, of course, I learned that no, it's not the case. Everyone has its own opinion. He's or she's own opinion, and you don't need to force your own. And it was so hard to learn not to do that. So because it's just basically throughout the years became so like, I don't know, like super habit that is pretty hard to get rid of. And every time that you are telling something to someone and that someone is not agree with you, oh, hold me three. Like, it's so uncomfortable, but in time you learn to deal with this, I think. You don't have to agree with me, I don't have to agree with you, but I could take something from your opinion and like enhance my own opinion, because I opened to a particular things. In the end, when you're discussing something, you are working on your own beliefs, because throughout the discussion your brain undergoes a pretty interesting like changes. You're getting from the state, the thing that I know is set in stone and no one's going to change it, in your brain, to, oh, maybe I was wrong, and the thing that I thought about all these years actually not very good thing for me, and I need to change this notion. So yeah, it's a pretty cool thing when you are opened to again, you don't need to probably discuss things just for the sake of arguing. You need to discuss things for the sake of understanding, are you right? Like, no, not actually right, but are this notion about a particular subject that you're talking about and you're discussing works for you? Or it's the only thing that this thing is doing for you is preventing you from something. Because again, everything that you are thinking of, forming your decisions, it's constantly impacting your life, and that's why I guess it's so important to we need to smooth peaks in here instead of valleys. I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I talked about. I will remember eventually, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, I think I will make this session a little bit like not super hasty, like I don't want to force things, so I will slowly correct a couple of mistakes here and there, and I don't think that this session is going to be the last session for this one, but next session is definitely going to be. So the more things I will prepare in this session for the next one, the better. And again, the things that I'm working on, they are pretty important, so I'm not just wasting time. And at the same time, I could talk about pretty cool things. I love to talk about like human psychology. I love to talk about life in general, decisions that we make, try to analyze why people making a particular decisions, why you are in a particular state of life, and why you can't like get out of this particular situation. These are the things that I'm passionate about, because again, we have to make our own life. We don't have to just give our life a free pass and see what it's going to look like. We have only one life, and this was my thing from the beginning. I understood that, come on, like, I have only one life. I need to make much more smarter decisions about things, because random decisions will lead you to random things, and yes, these random things could work, but what if not? I need to have a little bit more control of my life, to know what decisions are beneficial for my future and for my current state and whatnot. And this is the whole thing about why I decided to start these streams. I want to share these things, but I understand that in order to share them, you need to, like, I don't know, become the one who people could listen. Because if you're no one, no one's will never going to listen to you. Like, who are you? What are you saying? I don't care. Keep it to yourself. Like, something like this. But the cool thing is, every person has deep knowledge about something that could help the other person. And when we close to, like, when we want to hear only the ones with money and power to give our advice, to give us advices, I don't know, maybe it's not the best thing. Yeah, these guys are successful, but you can learn all these things from not successful people too. It's all about how you're looking at your life and at life in general. But again, no one wants to spend time. If someone wants to get something from someone, I hope it was not confusing. It is. I'm talking about the information. Then, of course, you will go to the person that definitely has this information. So you need to make sure that you will get the information that you need. That's why I guess most of the people choosing okay. I started to talk about art, and I went to much deeper things. Because again, as I said before, I'm constantly drawing parallels between art and life, because for me, art is life. And like, when I decided to become an artist, everything's kind of changed for me. And since then, I've grown a lot. I don't think that I would grown so much if it wasn't for because of the art. Because undergoing these struggles, artistic struggles, I dealt with life struggles at the same time, and because of these art struggles, it kind of made me stronger. I don't know. Maybe this is because I saw, like, when I started to learn art, I knew that right from the beginning that I will spend all my life doing this. So I understood that this is not something that I'm just trying. And probably the fact that I view art as this long-term life thing, that's why I took it seriously. And because I took it seriously, it led me to a bunch of troubles, because once you actually taking something seriously, you're pretty close to taking it too serious. And when you take something too serious, it kind of draws all fun out of it, because now you're thinking, oh, I need to earn a living on doing this thing, and every life decision that I make needs to help this notion. And then you are starting to face reality, and that's not everything that fast as you want it to. And there's a bunch of things, and I think everyone is dealing with this type of stuff. It's something that, again, it's not new. Everyone in some way dealing with these things. These so-called details that I'm putting in here, they will help accentuate depth of every plate, and actually will make the feeling that every plate is actually separate, which is kind of a problem for a specific area of this transformer. For instance, if we are going to look at here, there's not that much plane changes in here. So in terms of planes, not that separated from each other. They are slightly separated. And in order to make them more separated, for them to work with lighting better, we need to create sharp edges, because without these sharp edges, there's not going to be a feeling that these plates are actually separated. And that will create a soft look, which will take from our depth. And we need to think about depth. Oh, come on. By the way, I think I need to save. I definitely need to save. Yeah, as I promised, I will go through these details. I guess I'm going through them. At one point I kind of decided, oh no, I'm not going to detail anything. But now I think it would be a good idea. Again, I think I will create this transformer, the separate character design for it, I think. Because the design itself is already there, I just need to create a specific pose to it for it to look badass, and why not? Why not create the character design from it? Since I already established most of the design elements for it, why not? By the way, one thought actually got to me when I look through this sculpture as a whole. Like, I thought to myself, okay, since this is a transformer, we need to think about the transformative state. So right now, this is the regular state, but what if I actually tried to make this one transform in a specific thing? Because like transformers are usually transforming only for the sake of, or for the purpose of, like camouflaging themselves from the environment that they're in. I don't think that they need to transform themselves on the Cybertron, because this is their planet. They don't need to do that. So that's why I didn't thought about transforming this guy. But the cool thing is, it has pretty interesting design, and we could create a pretty interesting transformation from it. So like, I don't know, maybe it could become some type of a motorcycle or some type of a car. There's a bunch of design possibilities in here for us to actually transform this transformer into a particular into a car, which could be a pretty interesting thing to do though. This is definitely something that I wanted to do right, like the first time that I actually saw Transformers movie. I wanted to create something like this. I wanted to create my own transformer and then transform it in the two states. And here I am, creating a transformer for Fanart and Reverse versus Transformers that could give me this opportunity to do it. So maybe I will do it. It could be interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely gone through the detailed stages, which is not the best thing. So yeah, right now, by creating these type of like things, now we actually created a depth. Before that, depth was not present. Okay, go with valleys. Let's just smooth out a little bit in here to make things a little bit. And also, I like the idea of working in series, like serial projects, not just like creating one specific project and that's over. But the fact about like serial projects, of course, these type of projects take super amount of time, like a lot of time, if you can say it like this. Just a lot of time, because you need to think about how these characters working with each other. You need to understand, you need to take into consideration the fact that they are a part of one world. So you need to create a world for them if it's not created yet. It makes things much more interesting in terms of creating, but it makes things much harder to realize. And I have like bunch of ideas for the serial projects that I want to realize, but I understand that I don't have time to do this. It's so frustrating. Like, you want to do these awesome, or at least in your view, these awesome projects, and you don't have time to do that. That's usually super uncool. Whoa. I think for now, like, my decision not to create serial projects yet, because I need to gain a little bit more experience, like practical experience, because I will create my serial projects faster if I'm going to have like single project experience. So for now I'm kind of focused on single projects more, because I want to get this experience, practical experience that I lack. And after I will gain this practical experience, I gladly will go to much more complex projects, because this is something that I want to create. Because I love to think about like all these small details. Like even when I'm creating a single illustration, I'm still thinking about super, like, a lot of details. And when I'm working with serial projects, I'm spreading these thoughts even more. So now I'm thinking about like the world, how this world works, what type of flora in this world, what type of fauna in this world, and the climate of this world, of course. Probably the first one, because climate is usually controlling the flora and fauna. So all these fauna. So yeah, all these things are something that definitely brings me joy to create, to do, and that's why the more complex project is, the more fun I'm having to creating it. But again, there's always a problem of time, and unfortunately you don't have that much of the time, and it just kind of makes things a little bit uneasy. Okay, don't forget, this is your dominant side, work on it. Actually, that was a mistake. Or not. So yeah, right here we actually have pretty interesting double transition. So right here, this is a clear transition, and here it kind of becomes a little bit flatter, and it fades away. So right here we actually have almost no edge, which is kind of interesting. So you see, by adding these things, now these plates are actually looking separate, which will help us to determine the lights better. Because again, we need to understand how these planes are separate from each other to work with light. And although like just showcasing them is usually more than enough to understand this, but actually separating them from each other is even much cooler. Even much cooler. By the way, how many? Oh, come on. Time is passing so fast. Yeah, we kind of don't have that much time, unfortunately. So I need to get a little bit faster. And I actually want to create plates, because I definitely not going to work with an eye, but I definitely want to address plates, because plates are something that needs to be addressed. Yeah, let's just go right into plates, because, come on. Again, for plates, we need to make this thing a little bit straighter. These plates are going to be straight, and they're going to go right from these. Okay, good. Yeah, I think it's enough. This one looks somewhat straight. This one looks somewhat straight. This one not. Let's make it straight. It could help us with the dynamic of the plate. Yeah, this form is pretty interesting, pretty complex. There's a lot of transitions in here. It's like a hemisphere in here. But at the same time it becomes straighter. So these type of shapes is something that as a 2D artist we need to understand how to depict. And again, for me, working with 3D and actually seeing these forms and analyzing these forms and these transitions are super intuitive, because come on, if I would try to create this type of shape in 2D, I would create the illusion of reality, and maybe I would definitely, I could create it the same way, looking the same way, but it's not necessarily would mean that I understood its form completely, like from all angles. But again, with experience you will learn to do this. I can't get it. Oh, my headphone fell off. Come on, man, you need to move on. Stop. Stop. Whoa. So right here we definitely need to do valley. Okay, finally. Let's just finally start to go with these plates. So yeah, considering the plates. Oh no, not yet. I want to make this one straighter. Oh. Yes. Just want to make it a little bit more hard surface looking. Needs to be sharper. It's like a Transformer's tail. Transformer's tail. Tail. Dynamation. And Dynamation again. Yeah, definitely works. Making it smoother. Now we actually created an angle. Looks much more sharper. Right now we need to actually use the same. Just be careful about it. And use a couple of moves to make it a little bit more sharper. Okay, let's leave it like this. And let's finally, like half an hour before the end, we finally get into plates. Yeah, most of the session was just basically detailing. And again, this is a good example how many time you could spend on small things. So like if you compare it from the beginning, you would probably didn't notice that much. But again, there was a thing all about details. There was a bunch of details were created, bunch of things were actually made better. So it's definitely something to I want to eat. My tummy is talking. I want to eat for some reason. Also, it's night in here. In Moscow, Russia. But I want to eat. Oh, come on, man, stop. Go into plates, please. You need to go into creating plates. But it's still not perfect. I need to make it more perfecter. You can't say it like that. Okay, now they are kinda straight. Oh no, we need to make it straight here too. It's too curvy. You see, there's always things to work on. And the good thing is, while you're seeing them, you could basically, it's better than while you're seeing them work on them, because if you're going to skip them, next time you could not notice them. Okay, good. Good. Saving, and finally we are going to add these plates. So the thing about plates, I definitely want to make them or create them on a separate still don't know how to properly do this though. I rarely worked with different subtools. I have like complex project with a lot of subtools, but I kind of forget how they work. So probably the fastest way to do this is to use the IMM thing. Choose a particular primitive that works best for us for the plates. Again, plates needs to be super sharp, so I guess we will use this one. Insert cube or Q cube. What is the difference? it's somehow related to right here. Nope. Nope. Yeah, initialize. So yeah, Q cube, Q sphere, Q grid, etc. So let's just create a regular one. Still don't know the difference between them. Now it kind of doesn't matter where we're going to create it, we're still going to reshape it. So let's just first create it. Oh, it's so uncontrollable. So strange. Now let's just go into the manipulating it. So of course, when Gizmo was added in here, things now became a little bit easier. Before that, working with transpose tool and actually doing these operations was so hard. Of course, people get used to the transformer. Oh no, we actually smooshed it, squashed it. Okay, we need to get rid of the mirroring. We had to get rid of the mirroring right from the beginning, so let's just go back. I don't want to mirror them. So yeah, turned off mirroring. Again, it's right here. Huh? You see? Turn off, turn on, turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. Oh. By the way, working without brakes, not a good idea. My hand a little bit hurt, so it's placing again QB. Okay, holding Alt makes it like this. Holding doesn't matter, I already applied. So now we actually can change it the way we want. I guess you need time to adjust to these things. Again, this is something that I did almost none. I don't remember that I actually used these type of IMM primitives before. I usually just started with a particular shape and then worked from it. But this is actually a good way to work with Dynamesh. So like you're creating a particular form, instead of shaping it from the sculpt, you just could basically add this form and mesh it with things that you already have here. Okay, first let's decide the thickness of this plate. It's definitely not going to be, so it needs to be half of the size, half of the width in here, and it's definitely going to change in here. Yeah, you see, if I don't, because I don't have that much of experience with these IMM primitives, it's not that like right away easy to place them. Kind of adjust things. It would be cool if I actually had have the ability to model them, because that way I could actually use ZModeler, which I didn't use before that much. Oh, hello ZModeler. So we need to showcase the grid in here. There is a button that actually showcases the grid. Don't know what it is actually. Pivot, pivot, pivot. What it was. It changed something. Set pivot, clear pivot. Yeah, polyframe. Hello. Now we are in a polyframe mode. That means that now we have information about polygroups. So this is the separate polygroup, and most of our body is actually the same polygroup. Since we're not going to use any difference with polygroups, it's kind of don't care. So the reason why I'm actually gone into 3D in here, because I need to okay, first problem of this cube, it's too big. It has too many subdivisions, which is pretty hard, which makes it hard to manipulate it. What's happening? Okay, things a little bit lagging because of the so yeah, manipulating with ZModeler like goes in here. So you're just basically changing a particular operation that you want to do, and by combining like these elements, you kind of make things happen. It definitely takes time to adjust to these things, so I kind of basically know what these things are doing. So first you are choosing the operation, so you're choosing the type of operation. QMesh is the automatic thing that will like work with different things. It's pretty smart actually, but if you're actually if you want to full control, then you just basically choose the separate thing. If you want to extrude, you choose extrude. So right here you actually like taking polygon actions. Right here you are choosing the selection targets, what to select. Right here you are choosing, what is this, align quarter step, just I guess the alignment modes. And of course these are the modifiers, how they are going to work. Normal retraction, disable triangle snap. So these are, I guess, the modifiers for the behavior. What if I want to select these things? How I need to do this? One. Oh, in order for selection to work, we need to actually use select in here. Select. Don't see selection. Or selecting an alt. Yeah, holding alt creates these selections. Oh, you actually can select a pretty wide range of things. It still doesn't work. It's too many polygons in here. It's just not going to work. Let's just go back and create a single cube, then subdivide it separately, because I guess for this one we definitely need to figure out how to do this, because if I'm going to sculpt this I will spend even more time and it's not going to look that good, because again, working with hard surface things, sculpting doesn't love hard surface. You need to create hard surface specifically. So let's just go back till the beginning of the creating this cube. Maybe we actually need to create QMesh. So I guess this is what it means. So when you're actually creating a QMesh cube, it means that we could change the number of subdivisions for this cube, which is exactly the thing that we need to do. Because we don't need this cube to be super subdivided, because we need to manipulate it and actually do something about it. So I forgot where it was. Yeah. Initialize. Yeah, so yeah, resolution with 2 kind of works. So let's just create a cube. So you see, it doesn't have that much polygons, which is a good thing, which is the best thing for us. Just restrict. How to restrict its movement? Current active under history, blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay, good. And now the only thing that needs to be done is nope. We need to go into the not into the draw mode, the modeler, to activate these things. And now I guess let's just model, which is not something that I actually worked with before, at least in here. So ideally this thing needs to be moved with, but it's not moving, with the gizmo, but instead the whole object is moving. So what things we could do? Go to the masked center. What this thing does though, transport all selected subtools, reset mesh orientation, mesh to axis, go to unmasked, sticky mode. Yeah, let's just then work with the QMesh. So we need to move, and let's move. It's not moving. It's probably extruding because it takes some time to. No, it's definitely not extrusion. So yeah, as you see, the modeler not that like, yeah, it's extruded actually. We don't need extrusion. We actually need to move edge. But we actually need to move not edge, we need to move polygon. Single poly, all polygons, let's see selected. This selected here applies. Polygroup all, island. Island is basically the whole side, I think. Nope. Wait a minute. Move island, shift not aligned. Yeah, working with the modeler definitely needs to like go through the adjustments because it's not something that's super easy to do at the beginning. You need to understand how it works and then slowly you will adjust to it. And actually I wanted to learn eventually the modeler, and if the modeler, because the modeler actually seems a super powerful modeling tool. You can create right here much faster models than in the regular 3D programs, so exploring it would be not a bad idea, and putting time on it, it's definitely going to be beneficial in the end. Face in front, face in flat, flat polygroup, border inner, island, flat island. Let's try flat island. Yeah, definitely moves it. So let's delete this edge. So I don't need this edge, I only need one thing. So let's just try to understand how this works. So I'm hovering over edge, I'm clicking the right click or left click, I don't know. Then I'm choosing do nothing, delete, crease, collapse. Could choose collapse or delete, and loop complete, because that way it will delete the complete loop, which the thing that we need. Good. So you see, like in time you will learn how these things work. Basically you just need to understand what each operation does. Of course, for that you need to be already familiar with the modeling terminologies, because if you don't understand modeling terminologies, you would be even more confused. I'm kind of familiar with modeling terminologies, so it kind of makes things a little bit easier for me to understand what things does, what does. So yeah, we kind of deleted this thing, and the cool thing about this one, for each plane, edge, and point, we have different settings. So for instance, if we're going to change things with the point, and we for instance choose, okay, we want to work with the point only by moving it, and moving it, okay, by brush radius. This is standard. And every time that we want to do something with the point, we are going to apply this action. If we want to do something with the edge, for the edge is different action. So for each thing we need to set its own action. So you see, the previous action that I set for this one is going to be applied each time that I'm going to try to work with the edges. So let's do this. So the form of our plate is going to be pretty strict. So the plate is not going to be doesn't need this polygon, this additional division. That means that we need to delete this loop, edge loop. So since we already set this to action delete edge loop complete, clicking, it deletes unnecessary loop. This loop we could use because we actually have right here division, so we kind of need it. So that means that we are going to keep it. So okay, let's go to the edge. So now we need to move this edge down. No, first let's just move the polygon and make it the actual size that we want. So basically you have three types of actions in here. Action that is going to be applied to the edge action, point action, and polygon action. And you can set for each of these things your own action, and it actually pretty awesome thing to have, because usually modeling softwares don't allow you to do these things. You need to just like, oh, go work with all of them and choose a specific movement. Right here it's kind of all in one click, which makes it much more easier for people that aren't familiar with modeling. Because for modeling you need to understand like shortcuts for particular things. For instance, if you want to extrude something, you need to press E, or if you want to insert something, you need to press I on a keyboard. Right here it's all in one click. You don't need to learn shortcuts for it, which kind of makes things a little bit, I don't know, intuitive. Again, as I said before, ZBrush is a super intuitive tool. After you learn it, it's actually pretty easy, and you don't need to know all interface in order to model. Or okay, we need to move. Now we chose move, and we need to move actually restricted. So I want to move it in a specific direction. So now I actually restrict it by the way, how okay, shift is creates a restriction. But what if I want to change it, like the movement position, how I can choose it? Interesting. Maybe holding shift, pressing X or Y. Nope, doesn't work. So yeah, this is something actually to... Oh, by the way, I think it changed in here. Not. So we actually can't change the type of movement. In what direction? Okay, this is something to figure out. And also, as you see, it's a little bit lagging a bit. Don't know why. Maybe because I'm working on not separate subtool. I think we need to actually separate this one into specific subtool. Let's do that. Before, let's save. I think I already did a lot of things in here, although it's pretty simple, but still. And let's just put it into the other subtool. So split to similar parts, split to parts, split and mask points. Where is this? Group split. Append, insert. Split unmasked points and masked points. Let's mask points. Yes, so now we actually working on a separate thing, and it doesn't need to lag. So right now I think it's not going to lag, because before that we kind of worked with one specific subtool. Now we are working with only this subtool, and the rest is, if this one is actually in our way, we always can just get rid of it, and it will make things a little bit faster without the model, because yeah, the model is pretty high poly. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is let's properly place it. We have reference in here, which is a good thing. Let's choose polygons, or not. If we want to actually place the object itself, it's much faster to do with just the move tool. It's easier. Okay, I guess let's just keep it like this. Again, I will place it properly from the side view a little bit later. Okay, so the cool thing is, the reason why I actually keep it for later, because I think we definitely need to extend the session, because I actually want to finish at least one plate. And it's definitely going to take me more than 10 minutes of remaining time. Let's extend the session at least in half an hour. Maybe I will manage to do something. If I will not manage to go in 30 minutes, then I will extend it to full 3 hours. But like for now, let's work with this one. So, okay. And the cool thing is, now I'm actually trying out the modeling tools too, because this is something that I never worked with before. This is like the first time that I'm actually trying ZModeler. I know how it works, like from tutorials on YouTube, but I never tried out in my personal projects, or which is pretty cool thing, because now I'm actually like doing it. So yeah, let's just why I can't choose the edge in here. Oh, because we're not in ZModeler mode. Yeah, so now I can. So I definitely need to move. Should I move it? Yeah, I need to move this edge only. So move edge right here, and restrict. I don't know if I will not restrict movement, it's going to be pretty all over the place. Yeah, so we actually gone. No, whatever. Don't think that this is super important. We always can change it later. Again, hovering over edge. It's not super easy thing to do when you have, and placing it at the beginning. Also hovering over this edge and placing it in here. Okay, hovering this edge would not be a manageable thing to do, so let's just restrict it and move it a little bit. Almost there. Okay, good. Now the same for this edge. Not a point. I need an edge. Maybe choosing edges would be an easy with the smaller brush. Okay. Yeah, still working with modeling here, it's something to get used to, because I kind of, I don't know, I get used through the years of working with modeling, which I don't have that much experience in modeling, but still, I kind of began my artistic journey from modeling, and before I got to actually drawing and painting. So for me, modeling, it's an old school modeling, and this, like ZModeler, it actually brings you a new school way of modeling, which is super efficient, but you need to learn it, you need to get used to it, and of course it definitely will take time. It's not everything super clear in here. And to play a simple operation in here, it definitely could take you more than a few minutes. When regular modeling, you would already do this, because with regular modeling is actually super easy. You're just choosing this edge, you choosing a move tool. So like, for instance, oh, actually, there's a possibility to transpose things. Not? No. Oh, you actually can do this. Awesome! Super, super, super. Super cool. So maybe not everything is bad. So you actually can do this in here. So you can do this the old school modeling way. So yeah, this is the old school modeling. You're not moving things like before. You're actually choosing a specific thing and you placing it the right way. And this is much easier and much faster way of doing it. But the only problem, we need to constantly go from ZModeler to yeah, it's not going to be that. First we need to probably with Alt select the edge, and then it's just automatically retranspose it to the selected tool. Cool. So yeah, this is the, oh wait a minute, why it's moving not the edge but the whole thing? Oh, because I kind of deselected, maybe? What happened? Okay, yeah. So first let's edge loop, poly loop. Yeah, we need to transpose one edge. Now I need to select it. Does it select it? Yeah, I guess it is. Although it's not in the right place. Nope. Maybe this one? Yeah. So click in this one, go to Unmasked Mesh Center. yeah, definitely needs time to adjust because it's not everything clear in here. Because again, I get used to a particular way of modeling, and every time that you are going through something unfamiliar, you will struggle a bit. Although I'm not struggling at all, like I'm actually having fun. Although it's pretty strange that I'm already spent on this stupid plate probably more than 30 minutes, but I kind of don't care. I'm learning a ZBrush, and that's always awesome because I'm planning to use it in the future. Okay, now I need to figure out how to select this one now. So we're going to the Z modeler. We need to just click in here. Click. No, not click, just choose it. And it doesn't work for some reason. Choose it. Yeah, definitely needs probably a shortcut going between the Z modeler and transpose mode. What happened? Yeah. Why I chose this? I wanted to do something with it. Oh yeah, place it properly now. By the way, Z modeler is 1. Maybe if I will press 1, it's going to go into the Z modeler. Oh. Actually, every time that I'm pressing 1, it's moving. It's moving. I need to be careful with this. So, go with the Z modeler. Nope, it's just doing something strange. Is there a button? Z modeler, choose. Z modeler, choose. Hey, you see, it's not it's not choosing from the first try for some reason. But at least it's choosing. Okay, good. We actually created first plate finally. Let's just turn on our thing to actually place it properly. Now we're going to move the whole mesh, not just on the selected part. Which is kind of interesting. I don't know how to do this. I already gone out of Z modeler, but I'm still moving only one specific thing. The same is going to be with the transpose thing. She's going to work only with one. How about no? How about no? How about no? Unlocking definitely not going to help. And I still don't know what these things mean. Transform type. So bend guard, bend taper, twist, extender, deformer. Yeah, this is something to understand and to learn. Don't know what these things are doing. I guess this is just the transformation modifiers, but how they're going to work, it's pretty unclear. I guess we need to change this one from transpose tool to a regular move, and only after that. Now transpose tool needs to be separate from selected area. Nope, unfortunately it still in it. The only way is to select all, but there's no function select all. Control A. Oh yeah, actually Control A actually selects all. And now if I'm going to move, it has to move everything. Oh, actually I masked all. Yeah, we need to unmask and then move. Yeah, this is something that definitely needs adjustments because it's not super clear. Oh, by the way, I have completely different look of this thing in here, so we need to redo this. So plate starts in here. We actually could make the start of this plate a little bit right here. And then let's just properly place it where we need. Okay, going into the Z modeler and changing to the transpose mode because I don't know how to control the other mode. This is actually a pretty cool thing that they added ZModeler from ZBrush R7 probably, because now ZBrush has this way of meshing two worlds together, the modeling world and the sculpting world. Because by itself ZBrush is a super powerful modeling tool, probably, or not modeling, but sculpting tool, probably the best sculpting tool out there, in my opinion. But when you add into this sculpting thing a super powerful modeling tool, it kind of explodes. Still, it's preferential, so everyone is going to choose whatever he or she decides to choose in terms of like modeling software or sculpting software to use. Okay. Adding plates. So yeah, that's why when I talked about plates, I actually needed to address, before going into creating these plates, we needed to sharpen or straighten these things, because as you see, kind of already important. It helps us to properly place them. I still didn't place properly. For instance, right here we have this separation, which kind of make things a little bit not cool. The fact that we changed the design a little bit of this part. By the way, the reason why I decided to change this design to this line, because I didn't want to create this change in angle, because it wouldn't work. So for instance, we have angle, this thing angled this way, this thing angled even more, so with more radius, and then it kind of goes back. So it's very bad for dynamic when you have these uneven like transitions. So if you create like some type of a parallel lines, they need to change slightly. If they will change drastically and going to change, for instance, this one, then this one, and then again to this one, it's not going to create very good dynamic in here. Or not dynamic, but probably, I would probably call it, let's call it dynamic for now, as I remembered. Yeah, but if you are creating this slight changes, so this is straight like this one, this is a little bit probably the same, and then it slightly changes, that way you create very good dynamic. It's not going to interrupt the viewer's eye. But if you're creating something too like just basically changing directions, it's not a very good thing. Although I probably made this mistake in here somewhere, because I think I have some type of design elements that actually not working with this rule. For instance, this one, this one, this one, this one, because like for instance this one changes direction. So in some places these elements are working fine, and there's places for these elements that they are not working, when these plane changes are distracting viewers from the thing. So for instance right here, so we have here, then it repeats, then it slowly changes, then it slowly changes drastically, then repeats, then again changes, but then it kind of repeats itself, so it kind of works. Same in here. Okay. If it didn't make sense, I will readdress this issue in the future designs, because again, need to gain a little bit more experience to actually talk about these things with more confidence. I think that it like works with the dynamic, but visually. Yeah, getting a little bit uncomfortable with these movements. Okay, move. Single poly. Let's huh? Why this one doesn't select it? By the way, selected polygons will automatically change polygroup. We don't need to move it, we need to select it. There's no selection in here. I guess selection is just works with an alt. Well, we need to use it to mesh. I think I know the problem. It's masked. Yeah, it's just basically masked all polygons. That's why I can't select them. No, I selected them finally. Okay then. By the way, don't tell me that we already... No, we didn't pass the time. We have probably 15 minutes left. Yeah, I think I will be done on this one. I'm not going to extend to 3 hours because there's a lot of things to do with this thing, and I'm going to reshape it. It was super long. So Yeah, I chose 2 polygons. Now we need to choose transpose. Transpose selected polygon. Then we need to choose a move to. We need to snap it to the center. Nope, didn't work. We need to choose it again. We need to move it again. And we need to snap it to the center. Still doesn't work. Yeah, definitely need to learn how to work with this thing though. It's still pretty strange. Like, okay, I selected these 2, they are selected, but why you can't move them separately? Single poly. Kinda selected polygons. Maybe this one. Maybe this way. Okay, good. What I want is, I want to rotate it from this pivot point. So I want to use this pivot point to rotate it a little bit in here, to make it a little bit straighter. And like, this is a problematic thing to do, because ideally it's more than enough to just use the transpose tool for it. So we just unselect everything and just simply rotate. I guess, yeah, that's the way. Because again, I don't want it for these things to intersect, and they are intersecting. And also, I don't want to bring too much changes into this part. Maybe for this, I actually need to make this plate a little bit, like, create a separation. I don't know. Even the simple plate creates problems when you don't have that much experience, which is completely normal. By doing this thing, I'm actually gaining this experience, which is a good thing. Yeah, transpose an edge. And transpose an edge again. So I kind of want to make this one a little bit here. To support this transition. Cool. By the way, I know how I'm going to deal with this problem. I need to... Yeah, I definitely will move this part a little bit further. That way it's not going to create this intersection in here. Definitely. Okay, first plate, it's kind of ready. I think kind of works. Yeah, I don't think that I have, like, actually the... I think I will end on this plate for today, and next session we are going to continue to create plates. We need to create plates, like one plate in here, probably another one in here. From the front too, we definitely need to address what to do with this part. Should I create an additional plate for this one, or should I keep it like this? Because again, this is something to explore definitely. And So the only thing that we kind of need to do before we're going to finish this is we need to create a design for an eye. Definitely, it's going to be in the next session tomorrow, and we definitely need to finish with plates because plates are pretty important. They will create this night feeling, because without these plates, Transformer just basically doesn't look like night. By creating these plates, it kind of makes it a little bit more look like night. And after we'll put in his hand sword, pose it, of course, it's going to look even more like night. But it's going to be on in 2D. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to pose it in 3D. It will take me a long period of time to do that. Ideally, I would rig it, create a rig, and then, of course, pose it, but don't have time for it. So we need to kind of pose it in our imagination and draw it from our imagination in a particular poses. So yeah, I guess I will finish with this one for today, because again, kind of we still probably have about like 9 minutes. I think for the remaining time I'm just going to probably prepare plates. Yeah, let's just duplicate these plates. By the way, how? Yeah, like this. And just move them. Deselect selection. Just place them in the place they're going to be. Again, this is something that I definitely need to explore, how to like create this mesh with Z-modeler and actual sculpting. This is something that's pretty uncomfortable, but I guess the more I will use these combinations, the better I will become. I just need to get experience in these things. Okay, one plate is definitely going to be something somewhere in here. Of course, we are going to reshape it properly. Still question how this plate is going to be transitioned in space in between these parts. This is something to figure it out. For now, kind of works. Let's keep it like this. Now let's again duplicate. Not, by the way, save. I didn't save that much. What is this? You saw this? There's a lot of text in here. Glitching text. That was pretty interesting. Okay. Let's duplicate it again. Now let's just move another plate. Yeah, what I'm doing now is just basically placing the pivot point in the proper place, which is the awesome ability in here though. There's a programs that just can't do this. Okay, now I have pivot point. Definitely need to... Oh, so this is actually going to be the one on the top or on the front. Interesting. So I guess we are just going to have 3 plates in here, because I kind of thought that we're going to have at least 4 of them, but turns out that probably it's going to be 3 plates eventually. Okay, kind of cool. 3 plates, 3 plates, as you say. Yeah, and of course I will make it bigger, because it definitely right now doesn't look right. We'll make it right. So yeah, cool. Prepared plates for us to do in the next session, which is a good thing. Less time is going to be spent on this. Yeah, right here definitely will create a problem, because we don't have that much of a thickness in here. That could create a problem. And also I definitely need to think about these plates. I think they need to move, because if I will make them straight, of course it's not or like solid, our transformer is not going to be able to move. They need to either move by themselves, like I don't know, maybe they are made from, I don't know how this thing in armor actually called. I definitely need to learn it. So they definitely need to be not solid, because that way it will restrict movement completely. Sorry for a lot of rotation. Okay, I'm done with it, so let's just deselect everything, go in the draw mode, choose our model, get rid of this one, save, overlook it another time. So yeah, these plates are definitely going to look good, but like for now they're not probably looking that good, because they are not properly shaped, and the second, they are not mirrored. After I will mirror them, they will look better. As every design, when you mirror design, symmetry will make it look better. So, or at least finished. For now it's kinda partially done. But again, it's pretty cool. I still need to think how to separate them inside. So after I will put them into sculpt mode, I will dynamesh them and actually change specific parts of them by actually creating this suggestion of separation. We will move them, we will probably... So for now they are definitely going to be like straight, because they will work with the gravity, and like gravity is just basically making them hang. But with movement they will definitely act differently, so this is something that we need to definitely think about. We actually probably could use this idea and implement this idea into our designs. So yeah, let's just finish on this note. Again, throughout the session I just worked on details, and we finally established plates by working with ZModeler and with IMM primitives, which was probably the first time. So, which is cool. Gain a little bit more experience, which is always a good thing to have. How to get rid of this thing though? Choosing a particular brush to work with, yes. Good, so let's save again, in case something not going to work. Close the brush, not going to save, already saved. And yeah, and let's just say our goodbyes for today. Yeah. So thank you for watching, thank you for being here, have a nice day or night, and see you in the next session. Bye bye.